There's an awful lot of news in the world of West Ham United at the moment, but still, as I record this on Saturday, the 25th of July, there's still no players that have come in. It's finally been confirmed, however, that 𝙒𝙨𝙭𝙪 Summerville is now a former West Ham United player. And I hear through the grapevine that, and I'm going to credit Mark Carlaw of the West Ham Way with this piece of information coming to me, so thank you for that, Mark, was that apparently 𝙒𝙭𝙪 Summerville turned down overtures from Tottenham Hotspur to go to 𝙍𝙬𝙢. And to be fair, I tip my hat to him because I think that shows that he held West Ham and their fans in high regard, because I think if he'd have sort of gone there, I think that maybe that might have been termed as a little bit disrespectful by some. Business is business at the end of the day, but I completely understand the emotional side of football. So 𝙒𝙭𝙪 Summerville, it goes up in my estimation for that. I wish him the best of luck at 𝙍𝙬𝙢 and onwards and upwards. But we obviously have to carry on, and we need to get someone to come in left wing. Now, one of the names that's been mentioned is Jaden Philogene. Now, he's currently on the books at Ipswich Town. He's been around the block a bit. He's actually a Londoner. He was born in Hammersmith, but he went through the youth system at Aston Villa, and he's done the rounds a little bit. He's had a number of loan spells. He's sort of moved on. He actually left Aston Villa and went back to Aston Villa a couple of seasons ago. Now, if you remember the first game of the Julian Lopetegui era, our first home game of the Premier League season that year was against Aston Villa. We lost 2-1. Do you remember John Duran? We'd been linked with him all that summer, and John Duran scored the winning goal. It's just typical, isn't it? It's just such a West Ham thing for that to happen the way that it did. Well, Jaden Philogene actually made his second Aston Villa debut in that game. He came on as a substitute. However, from that point on, it didn't really sort of work out for him at Villa too well, and he ended up moving on to Ipswich Town. Now, obviously, Ipswich Town have been promoted, relegated, promoted again, and now Kieran McKenna's moved on. Gary O'Neill is in at the helm at Ipswich Town. Portman Road is the destination, and it would appear that Jaden Philogene's race may well be coming to an end as far as his time at Ipswich Town is concerned. Now, I sort of look at it and I go, 24 years of age, so he's still got an awful lot of scope to improve and develop. So that's a good thing. He has experience in the Championship. Again, this is beneficial for us. But I sort of go, well, I'm, again, a bit like that Slavia Prague striker that I spoke about a couple of days ago. I start to ask the question, well, he's never really cut it at the Premier League level previously. Championship seems to be probably where he's quite comfortable and can excel. Premier League, I'm less certain about. So I don't know, genuinely. But then again, I sort of I then maybe have to take a step back, because to be perfectly honest with you, had 𝙒𝙭𝙪 Summerville really proved himself at the Premier League before he turned up at West Ham? And I think, in all truth, that the answer to that is no. And we've just got somewhere in the region of 50 to 60 million pounds for him. So I sort of go, okay, well, maybe this might be a roll of the dice that could be worthwhile. But let me know what your thoughts are. You've got a comment section below. Get your thoughts in. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, on the top left-hand corner, you will see a QR code. Scan that. It will take you to our YouTube subscription page. It's free. It's data safe. It takes a couple of seconds of your time. It just helps grow the channel into something bigger and better. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to hype, and maybe even share this on your socials. So a few other little things I want to cover off while I've got your attention. So it's come out that we've apparently turned down a bid from Brentford for Hadji Malik Diouf. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think as far as last season was concerned, he was very hit and miss. Look, I get that he got a lot of assists from left back, but also fundamentally, when you're a left back, your main function is that you need to be able to defend. And I don't really feel that as a defender, he's particularly adept at that. I think he can be got at by right wingers that are particularly at the top end. Now, I appreciate that we're now not in the Premier League, and maybe, just maybe, he can show a different version of himself, and that's fine. But he's even made sort of noises about wanting to play for Real Madrid. Well, I get that he's got ambitions, and I've got no problem with a player having ambitions beyond West Ham United. I mean, look, we're not Real Madrid. We have to recognise that. But I also look at Hadji Malik Diouf and go, I just don't see that you're a Real Madrid quality player. But again, he's a young player, and he's got a lot of scope to sort of push on to a higher sort of standard, if you will. So that's fine. But I'm not particularly asked about it, if I'm being completely truthful with you. I don't even know what the bid is that we've turned down, but apparently we've just turned down a bid from Brentford. And I think, what did we pay for him? Was it 20 million quid? I think if we could get our money back on him and maybe a little bit more besides, me personally, and I can only speak for me, I don't think I'd be particularly bothered if we moved him on. Maybe, obviously, Nuno sees him as a key piece of the jigsaw. Maybe he sees that in the Championship, he's going to be a vital piece of the machine. Maybe, but I just sort of look and go, he's a defender that can't defend. He's a defender that can't defend. Well, you know, like I say, we'll see what happens there. But Taty Castellanos, apparently that's all something and nothing. I mean, I'm hearing sort of things saying that no, he's staying. He wants to stay. He's quite happy to stay. There's whispers that say that a lot of the stories that have been put out there that Taty wants out are a little bit of mischief making on the part of certain individuals. But you know, I want him to stay. I absolutely do. I think he is, unlike my thoughts on Malik Diouf, where I'm not convinced that he's going to be one of the key players in the Championship. I'm a little bit of a fan of 𝙎𝙬𝙗𝙩, I can't lie. Maybe it's because he's an academy product, and I always have this vested interest of trying to see the academy players do just that little bit better than a player that maybe we've paid money for. But I just sort of go whatever with Diouf, whereas with Castellanos, I just go, well, we need to keep him. He showed enough in that 4-month or whatever it was spell as a Premier League player when he came in from Lazio in the winter transfer window in 26. I think he's shown enough that I am quite confident in him. If Ollie McBurney, what did he get? 17 goals last season? Taty Castellanos will have 20 goals by Christmas, easy, on that basis. I mean, obviously, it's dependent upon form and injuries and all the rest of it, but Taty will absolutely be one of the top goal scorers in the Championship next season. I have no doubt, barring any catastrophic loss of form or any sort of injuries that could curtail his progress in that regard. Also, want to say that I've just seen, just before I hit record, that it's 𝙒𝙗𝙗𝙗 Fabiański, obviously former West Ham United goalkeeper, was one of the squad members of that night in Prague. At 41 years of age, he's decided that now is the time to retire from the game of football. I'd like to say thank you for his years of service. I'm hoping that there'll be something coming out in due course. I'd love to be able to see that 𝙒𝙗𝙗 Fabiański might be offered a position at the club at some sort of goalkeeper coach. I appreciate that's not going to be for the first team. Maybe it'll be for the academy or something, you know, one of the age grade teams, but it'd be great if we could keep him involved. He's got an awful lot to offer, I think, in terms of being able to sort of bring on the next. We've never really brought on a goalkeeper from the academy, have we? I mean, there's only two real names that I can think of really played first team football for any length of time that have come from our youth ranks, and one of them was basically before I was born, Mervyn Day. The other one was Stephen Bywater, but Stephen Bywater we bought from, I think it was Rochdale, wasn't it? So obviously also there was the other thing to just sort of cover off and get your thoughts on. David Sullivan's come out and basically said, "Oh, I'm taking a back step. I'm still going to support the club, and I'm going to basically, paraphrasing here, but I'm going to wait until West Ham are a Premier League club so I can get top dollar for my shares, and then I'll flog it and bugger off." Well, I don't really see that you're a supporter of the club, mate. If that's the way you're playing things, that you're purely looking at it from a business perspective. You're not a fan. You never were. You're a Cardiff City fan. We know that. Don't try and give it a load of old nonsense that you're anything, but you probably are a sort of like a fair weather fan at best. But all you were ever here for was to make money. Let's be completely honest. So the sooner you sell up and do one, the better. I'm glad that he's not the chairman. I'm glad that we're going in a new direction of travel. Talking of directions of travel, I've just recorded a video which is going to go out 8:45 tomorrow morning. By that time, I'm probably going to be on a train heading to the very place which the preview is about for the Rangers game. So, yeah, and like I say, just lots of other things. Also, I saw an interesting little story because obviously I did a video last week, I think it was, where I was making the comparison between Fikayo Tomori and Dylan Lawler for centre-back, which I still think is one of the key positions that we need to strengthen this season, because I think it's fairly clear that Todibo has got no future at the club under Nuno, so he's done. We obviously lost 𝙒𝙧𝙖𝙑𝙧, and it looks like, in all likelihood, he's not going to be coming back, so what can I tell you? It is what it is. But one of the things, obviously, like I say, that's quite an interesting, and I don't know whether there's anything that's sort of like going to come off the back of it, because of course we're going to be playing Rangers on Sunday the 26th. Well, on Saturday the 25th, which is the day that I'm recording this, and probably hopefully the day that this will go out, truth be told. Well, obviously Fikayo Tomori is on the books at AC Milan. Who do you think that AC Milan are playing in a pre-season friendly at 3 o'clock today? You've guessed it, Celtic. So I then my imagination starts to run away with me, and it could be a complete load of nonsense. But you stop and think, we've been linked with this player, and we are playing a pre-season friendly 25 hours later, because we kick off at 4 o'clock, they kick off at 3 o'clock, so it's 25 hours, right? So within a day, Fikayo Tomori is going to be in the same city that we will be playing a pre-season friendly in. So I ask myself the question: is there is the club going to try and sort of work out a way of communicating directly with Fikayo Tomori and the representatives? Because I would guess that the first teams are probably already up in Glasgow as I record this. I'd be very surprised if they're making the journey on the same day like I am with my son. I think that would be quite strange. So I suspect that that Nuno and the first team squad, and probably a lot of the people that are the movers and the shakers at the upper echelons at the club, the likes of Karim Varane, for instance, Nils Koppen, will probably be in Glasgow today, which is obviously in conjunction with the fact that AC Milan are in town for that pre-season friendly against Celtic. And as I say, we've been linked with Fikayo Tomori, who is on the books at Milan. Am I putting two and two together and making 36? I don't know, but it's an interesting little one. I'd be interested to see if there's anything that comes out in the next day or two that says that we're getting close to a deal. We need something. I mean, we haven't got any deals in place. We haven't got anybody through the door, and I am starting to get concerned. Again, it's very reminiscent of last season for me. We didn't get the transfer dealings done until quite late in the window, and last season was an absolute catastrophe. Let's make no bones about it. So I'm starting to get really concerned now, and I don't want to see us coming out of the traps all sluggish and all the rest of it on the first game. The game against Portsmouth, yeah, I want to see us win that, but really it's all about the Burnley game at Turf Moor on the 16th. I just think we need to be absolutely on it for that game, come out firing on all cylinders and lay down a marker that we're going to try and dominate that league. But the lack of signings is definitely a concern. But anyway, there's a lot to unpack there, guys. There's, you've got Philogene, you've got Fabiański retiring, you've got Sullivan's comments, Hadji Malik Diouf. I've covered a lot of ground. Fikayo Tomori, he's in Glasgow a day before we're in town. So is there going to be maybe some talks going on? Let me know your thoughts. You've got the comments section below. Get stuck into that. Give us a hype. Give us a like. All of these things push the channel out to places it otherwise might not get. Share this onto your social media platforms. And if in the top left-hand corner, you can see that QR code. If you scan that, it will take you to the YouTube subscription page. It's free. It's data safe. It takes a couple of seconds of your time just to help to grow the channel into something bigger and better than it is as you currently find it. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support. Come and join us on the journey. We'll see you again soon. Come on, you irons.